except a few off north, and we are going to have them occupied by a balloon next week. When some travel, they must have some peculiar kind of bread baked on a large-legged skillet, or a 300-legged skillet, or they cannot exist. What are the health resorts? They are places supposed to have certain kinds of diet. You must eat a certain amount at a certain hour and go to bed at a certain time. In America, we go to bed early or late, eat anything we want and all we want if we can get it. We have proven here that the health grub business is not necessary, and we can do entirely without it. That is, the system of eating just so-and-so, or you will die. If the stomach is connected with the right battery and the brain and the nerves of nutrition are working right, you can eat a long-legged frog and live on it. You can eat a dog and thrive on it. If you don't believe it, just get a piece of beef in this town, and if you can eat it, you can eat anything. The wise architect of the universe put that mill there, and it will grind anything that is nutritious. This being so, there is not much use for your big mills to grind in a certain way as for you to have your battery and machinery so they can run as God in His judgment intended when He put them there. We find that He is competent and knows how to do His work, and when He has done a job, you can't better it. How did I discover osteopathy? Who was with me when I discovered it? Who assisted me in discovering it? I will give $100 for the man's photograph who has added one single thought to it. I took the position in 1874 that the living blood swarmed with all health corpuscles to all parts of the body. Interfere with that current of blood, and you steam down the river of life and land in the ocean of death. This is the discovery. The arteries bring blood and wash it with the spirit of life. The living arteries from this world, it fills all space and forms the clouds. If God is competent and knows His business, He has certainly made a good job. With that conclusion, shall I sustain His wisdom and try to work the machine as He has formulated it? Or shall I cast my lot with the dark shades of ignorance and superstition? When I raised that little flag, osteopathy, it was not a very large one, but I said I would swear by the eternal God and His works all my life. If there had been a bombshell thrown among you tonight, it would create no greater consternation than I did when I declared that God was no drug doctor. They wanted me to repent before it was everlastingly too late, and thought that possibly for the sake of my father I might be saved. My own brothers were of the opinion that I was going to the damned as fast as the wheels of time would take me. What was my crime? I declared that God was wisdom and His brother's work a success, and His works a success. That was the crime. My brother prayed for me, and I worked for him, and at the end of 18 years he came to my mourner's bench. Jacob worked 7 years for his wife, I 18 for my brother. He comes now and says, "It is the greatest blessing ever bequeathed to mankind." In 1874, my honorable brother, whose word is worth all the gold that he could carry on his back, honestly, I believe that I had one foot in hell, and he would have to catch me by the coat tail and jerk me out. I told him that God blessed no such things as quinine, morphine, opium, whiskey, or fly blisters. He said to me, "You are talking wild. I advise you to quit that right now. There is a great danger of your being lost." Time passed on, and after a little while he said, "I would like to talk a little about this matter. How do you account for fever? How do you account for a cold head?" I said, "In proportion to the velocity with which the heart brings the electricity that is generated in the brain, the temperature is high or low." He said, "I have a pain in my side and have been thinking of taking a little quinine and Dover's powders." I said to him, "If you will stand here for a moment, I think I can stop it. It is my opinion that the vena azygos major has failed to disgorge in time." I gave him a treatment which disgorged the blood, and the man was at ease. I then said, "If you think you are converted, I will baptize you now." He was a graduate from a Chicago University of Medicine. I asked him if he had not studied there some about the brain force and nerves. He answered, "Not in that way. Now when you give a dose of quinine, what do you address to it? Is it to the circulation of the blood? What do you expect to do? Contract the blood vessels and force the blood to run faster? Do you believe to contract or enlarge them? I believe, he says, that the effect is possibly to contract them, though I haven't given much thought on the subject. It may possibly strike the cerebellum and force the blood with greater power through the arterial circulation. Did it ever occur to your mind that when both mules didn't go up the hill, that one was pulling downward? How would it do to turn both tails uphill? The battery of life, the motor force, is throwing the blood from the heart through the arteries, but is not carried back in the right shape, and it becomes blocked by the veins. You put your quinine and opium in there, and the vein opens its mouth, and the blood goes on, and the circuit is made. As soon as completed, force of electricity throws it out, and he feels better. You asked me to talk to you on this anniversary occasion, and I am talking plainly. I love God. What do I love Him for? Because I cannot find any contradictions when I examine His works. The rising of the sun is to be depended upon. Take the eclipse the other day. Mathematics told us to a 50th part of a second when it would occur. Read your papers and see if that is not correct. When did they tell us? 12 months ago. The mathematics of heaven are perfectly trustworthy. The comets make their time and are back from the circuit when they promise to be. The earth goes round the sun on time to a minute. If she should stop to talk politics, it would jerk your head off. I love God because His works are perfect and trustworthy, does not need any help, and did not make man's stomach to be a slop pail for any dopes or pills, big or little. I love Him who makes pure blood by His machine, takes dead matter and imbues it with living force from crude material, and it becomes a working muscle. I love Him because He can put the sight in your body, hearing, sense of touch, in fact, all the 5 senses, and about 500 other kinds of senses on top of them. I love Him because He is a photographer. What does He photograph? Your mind is a sensitive plate, and every word that is said is photographed there, and when you want to look at them, you raise up the glass. You call that memory. The sensitive plate takes up your dreams and visions. This is as old as time. Some of us do not have to go to sleep to see visions. I am glad to meet you here on my birthday. I do not expect to have many more such celebrations. I am now 69 years old. Next year makes 70. My father died at 71. Next year makes 70. My father died at 71. My mother at 89. As long as I live, I shall be an uncompromising defender of osteopathy. I don't need much of it myself, as I am pretty well, but for the sake of the cripples, I will try and give a few lessons as to how often they should take treatment and when to quit. I hope for a brilliant future for osteopathy. When I am dead, if I get to come back here, I expect to see osteopathy ahead of all other pathies, and men growing up with better minds, brains, nerves, and better all over. I thank you for your attention.